So, how you doing today, Mr. Pretto?
I'm doing good.
Okay, for those who don't know, which is very few, just tell people who you are and what you do.
I'm the Executive Vice President of Administration. I've been at TCI going on 25 years now under different roles. Started off as a student worker, moved my way up the ranks, manager, director, vice president, executive vice president, where I'm at now.
Okay,
So I'm pretty much involved with everything in the college and know almost everybody. A lot of new faces, but.
good. Okay. So being in the business for 25 years, let's say you do a lot of interviews, correct?
I do interviews for staffing when I need to hire people in my departments.
Okay, so what do you look for when you conduct the interview?
I look for the truth. A lot of people coming in for interviews, you never know if they're really telling the truth or they're embellishing or they're exaggerating or what's the actual. So you got to take it at a hunch what they're telling you and how they're telling you. You kind of do feeding questions that loop around to make sure that what they said before is the same thing they're saying but in a different way. So that's kind of the thing I'm looking for in an interview. I'm looking for, basically, honestly, I'm looking for somebody who's going to do the job. I always look for self-motivated people because it makes my job a lot easier. If they're self-motivated, they can do what they got to do, and you don't have to oversee them and look after them every time to make my job easier.
Right. Okay, so even if you find a person that is self-motivated and have good qualities, how do you decide if a person is right for your team?
Well, you ask the technical questions. I have an IT background. That's how I started.
Okay.
And you're looking at the requirements of the job. If I'm looking for a network administrator, I want to make sure they can do the network administrator work. Not only can they, you feed them some questions about network administrating functions, and they should know and they should answer it properly, so they have the knowledge of the material. And then you might possibly give them an exam to take, depending on the position, to see if they're qualified and know the material. But yes, one thing to know the material, one thing to be self-motivated, and one thing to be, if the job is challenging enough for them. Some people, you don't want to put somebody in a position that's beneath them, and you don't want to put somebody in a position that's above their skill.
Right.
Because if you put something that's beneath them, they might leave. If you put something that's too above them, they might not fill the requirements that you need. So you got to fit the right person for the right job.
Okay. Well, I know a lot of ways to prepare for an interview as an interviewee. But as an interviewer, how do you prepare for an interview?
I don't really prepare. I go over there. I prepare by going over their resume, going over, what I can physically see from them. You might do a search from them on the internet, Google search or whatever, just to try to find out what type of person they are.
Right.
But my preparation is more when they're here and you can see them and you can actually talk to them. Because somebody else could have prepared their resume. So you don't really know.
Okay.
So not until you come in and talk and you ask them questions pertaining to their resume, step by step, and why'd you leave this job, what happened here, what kind of work you were doing there, that you can really find out what type of person they are.
Okay. Speaking of questions,
Yes.
how do you come up with the questions for an interview? Are they like freeballed, or do you have a standard question format that you ask certain people? Like, where does the question come from?
Some of them are on the fly, some of them are standard. It just varies, and I don't have anything prepared beforehand. I just kind of do it as I see how the interview is going.
Okay. Well, you know a lot of interviews, you've been on interviews, and you've done a lot of interviews. So when it comes to first impression, they say first impression is lasting.
Yes.
So what is a complete, absolute, no, this person is not right for me when it comes to appearance when you see an interviewee?
I've had interviewees that don't dress the part. And to me, if you're not dressing the part, you're really not interested in the job. I had interviewees that came with a Bluetooth headset and did not take it off in the whole interview. You're not really interested in the job. If you don't take your job serious, that in an interview, you're not going to take off your Bluetooth earpiece. So it's kind of like you have to present yourself like you want the job, no matter what. You have to look the part, you have to talk the part, you have to act the part. It's not an issue. To me, it's not an issue. You got to do a proper handshake. You got to do a proper greeting. This is all interviewing 101 that people should do. And if they don't do it, if they're not going to take themselves seriously, I'm not going to take them seriously as well. No matter if they answer all the questions, they did it. It's either they're too cocky, they don't, or they don't really want the job.
Okay. So how do you feel about follow-ups?
If they do follow-ups, follow-up emails or follow-up calls or something like that, that's fine. It's a little more than somebody who didn't, and it might put somebody over the edge. If I have two people that are dead even, it might make the decision more one way than another way. But
so when it comes to follow-up, what would you say is like a follow-up and like overboard? Like, is it just one email or should I send 2, 3 emails?
No, one email.
One email.
One email.
That's it. One phone call.
Exactly.
Phone call you every day.
Don't. No email.